On today's episode of Lokar Car Show, we bring you cars from the Dream Car Classic in downtown Hollywood, Florida. If you've been following Lokar Car Show all season, then you know we are the car show that brings the car show to you. Get your favorite beverage and enjoy some classic cars, fast cars, and rare cars from the comfort of your living room.
It's a beautiful day in sunny Hollywood, Florida, and today is our monthly car show. We have it 12 months a year in downtown Hollywood, which is a historic, traditional downtown. We have dozens of vehicles, probably over 100 vintage, antique, and collectible vehicles here today. It's a bit of a shot in the arm on a Sunday afternoon to bring thousands of people into downtown. Most of them go out to eat or purchase items in our shops. Our beach is one of the best beaches in South Florida. In addition to being an award-winning blue wave beach, it's also a historic landmark to some extent because what we have is the Broad Walk on the beach. The Broad Walk is a wide walkway that is literally located on the sand of the beach with businesses that line it. So it makes for a very enjoyable time. It's a very family-friendly environment. The car show is held 12 months a year on the first Sunday of every month. And I invite everyone in South Florida to come on down and check out the car show in downtown Hollywood, Florida.
Now let's take a look at some cars. Gary Smalley drove down in his copper-colored 1972 Chevrolet Nova with his car club. The 427 engine and 4-speed manual are geared for driving, and Gary drives it.
Growing up, this was my first car as a kid, was a 72 Nova. So I always wanted it. It's on my bucket list. I also have a 57 Chevy as well. It is a driver. You can go anywhere with it. I have it geared so you can go anywhere cruising with it. There's a 427 in there with a 4-speed manual. It's just something different. I really love it. It's a great car. You don't see many of them done like this. And the ones that are done aren't done to this quality.
We've been going on it for about 4 years now, me and myself and I, with my Z's, my fair lady. I love it to death. This is what I do. This is my passion. I've been into it for about 12 years. Although I've been kind of in the car scene my whole life. My dad used to own a 300Z back in the day, and I remember being a little girl in the back seat and he'd be changing gears and I'd be giggling and laughing. So when I turned 16, I was like, Bobby, I need a stick shift car. So dream came happening, and here we are. I'm 28, this was my second car, so my second build, I decided to make a show car versus a track car. And basically I'm on AccuAir suspension right now, so I'm dropped all the way down. As you can see, I'm hard parked. So even though LeBron left us, I still decided to make my car the way that I am because I am Miami Heat fan to the core, and that is why the design is the way that it is with the white, the red, and the black. In the back, we have the air tank system, which I said earlier. We have the AccuAir suspension that has the E level, so at any point that if you're driving on the road and you need to go up, it just automatically goes up all on its own. So it's a very nice system, so I chose that one. Also, we have inside the persimmon leather. I decided to go with that just because of the option the colors of the options that I had. It's not a daily driver, it is garage kept. This is mainly for shows. I come out and I enjoy what we do here right now. Like I said, garage kept, so that's why it's super clean, keep it nice and mint condition. I got 25,000 miles on it with a 2012, so very limited.
James Lucky Man Campbell may be using the force of the dark side that his 2010 370Z Nismo takes its namesake from. This is one of 3 cars he won with his lucky red 7.
Well, I actually got pretty lucky. I won it at the Coconut Creek Casino on a slot machine back in 2010. Now this was the second car I won. I won a 2010 Camaro first. I won my 370Z Nismo, and then I won my wife a 211 TT Roadster Audi convertible. 3 cars in 18 months. They call me the lucky man. Fun. It's a flat bottom race car with all tuned Yamaha suspension. It came with 350 horses. We tuned it, opened the computer, got rid of the governor, and she's pushing about 460 under the hood out of a little 6-cylinder. My son and me watched all the DVDs, and we went and saw the new movie, and he thought the new Darth was kind of like a wimp, so he went on the internet and found a picture of Darth Vader, which is under my hood, flexing a muscle for a muscle car in red and black, and that's the theme of my motor. So he said, Dad, just call it the dark side, because I blackened out the wheels, wrapped the door handles, tinted the taillights, the exhaust is all black. So it just worked, and it's very good results ever since I've done it.
Chris Barrell has been cruising the streets off and on in a 1930s Ford since he built one at the age of 15 in the late 1950s. The one he brought today might be a little more powerful.
Actually, when I was 15 years old, I built a car just like it without running boards or fenders and drove it all over this town in the late 50s. So, sold the car, got serious, got married, had kids, wanted the old car back. It's a lot of fun to drive. Actually, being a supercharged small block ZZ4, it's actually too much horsepower for the streets, so I only bring it to car shows and special events. The Hollywood Car Show is very unique because of its trees. In South Florida, the heat is so bad during the summer, it's hard to take a car and wind up with it sitting in the sun all day. Although the car is air conditioned, that I can tell you. Being a black car, it was a must. I turn a lot of heads with this car, no doubt about it.
Now that we know what Mr. Barrell thinks of the Dream Car Classic, we're going to take a quick break. The Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group, is brought to you by ARP, proudly made in the USA, the world leader in fastener technology. Original Parts Group, world-class restoration parts. Lokar, quality, plain and simple. National Parts Depot, make your dream happen. And by Power Probe, an absolute must for your toolbox. Last week on Lokar Car Show, we were in Syracuse, New York, and saw some multi-million-dollar cars. This week, we are hitting the streets of Hollywood, Florida to check out some more. But first, a word from the Vice Mayor of Hollywood about the Dream Car Classic.
The Dream Car Classic is awesome. It allows people to come downtown on Sunday morning, hot Sunday mornings at that, and to be able to see what we have to offer for the downtown, and who doesn't like classic cars. Our venue is perfect for people to come and enjoy themselves, and also for the people to enjoy classic cars. I mean, we have beautiful cars out here, beautiful cars. Cobra Joe is awesome. He's a great guy. He's easy to talk to. He understands the demographics that we have, and he has the contacts with people that have the classic cars. And we're happy and fortunate to have him here.
Check out Robert Shea's Resto Mod 1949 Cadillac convertible. It has a 350 crate engine, a Ford 9-inch rear end, and Buick Enclave seats, but it drives like a Cadillac.
I built about 50 cars over the last 50 years probably, or 40 or 50 cars, and I just like building them. It's enjoyable to work as a hobby, you know. Ride's fabulous. It's got the right suspension. I put a 48 Olds 98 rear coil spring suspension in the back, so it's got 4-wheel coil spring suspension. So it rides awesome. At 80 mile an hour it tracks right. It's got a new variable ratio steering gearbox on it. So it tracks and handles very nice at high speed. No, I'm pretty well done with it. I'm ready to start building a 47 Caddy convertible now. I'm starting on that next week. And I'll do the same basic thing, put a frame clip under it, and probably a 350, 330 horsepower crate Chevy, an overdrive tranny, a 9-inch Ford rear, bucket seats, and built the same basic way, you know. I've driven to Tampa. I don't drive as much as I used to. I used to drive them all over the United States, you know, to Columbus and Des Moines, Iowa, and Indy, and all over, you know. But I don't drive as much as I used to now, you know.
And my nephews and I were going to breakfast right on Johnson Street, just a few blocks over. And they saw the truck. I don't know why I didn't. They knew I was looking for one. And they said to me, Uncle Frank, did you see that truck? I said, no. They said, it's beautiful. You got to go back and get it. So we went and had breakfast. On the way back, I stopped, and there was that truck. I fell in love with it. And a fella had got it in Portland, Oregon, visiting his niece there, and he bought it there. And I don't know why he wanted to sell it. I guess he just got tired of it. It was all original drivetrain in it. And the paint job was a little rough, but it was that color. So he sold to me for, I think it was $7,500, and I was thrilled to get it at that. And I drove it for about 4 years, and I had decided I was going to drive it until it fell apart. And sure enough, it did. I was on the 84 overpass, and I heard the leaf spring fall off. My harmonic balancer had about that much play in it. I was burning a quart of oil about every 3 days, so I said, it's time. And my dear friend of mine, Carl, knew this guy, Randy Hanks, who was a hot rod builder. And he says, this is a guy you want to have help you. Because I tried to build one myself. I had a 1948 Ford pickup, and tried to do it in my driveway. It turned into a flower pot. So I said, this time I'm going to get help. I'm going to get somebody that knows what he's doing. So we did a complete ground up. We changed the entire drivetrain, and he knew about that in 1992, the Buick Roadmaster put the Corvette, the LT1 Corvette engine in it with the 700 R4 tranny. And knew this old couple that had one sitting in their backyard with the tires flat. So we picked that up for $800, put the entire drivetrain in the truck, modified the motor a little bit. We had to take it apart because it was sitting in the backyard. The oil was like, you know, gunk. And so we took the motor apart, beefed up the cam, put a roller cam in it, took off the throttle body, put a Rochester Quadrajet, Edelbrock intake and exhaust, and it's quick. It'll, at the line, it'll leap. So when I pull out the overdrive on 95, it'll do 95. It'll just coast at it. And yet, I'm a street racer, so if anybody pulls up to me, they got to race. And that car, when I put it in low, it'll leap in the air. So.
It's time for another break here at Lokar Car Show, but we have more dream car classics coming right up. It's time for Lokar Lowdown with Kevin Ford.
For many years, Lokar's done its best to support all the aftermarket applications that it can, especially when it comes to shifters. We're doing the next iteration of that with the new 6-speed transmission shifter. If any of you have a new car, you know that you can pull your shifter back, you put it in sport mode, you move it over, and now you're manually shifting. Well, with this new generation shifter, Lokar is now offering support for all the 6-speed and possibly 8-speed shifters to come out. It's a simple operation. It has all the standard safety features of the Lokar regular shifter, with the exception of when you pull back, you have the option of coming over and now shifting just like that. You can see that I had to fumble around with it. This is our first iteration. We've done 3, and we finally arrived at something that we feel comfortable releasing to the market. You can tell from the complexity of this that it's more than just our standard shifter that hooks up to a 350 transmission. This has electronics built into it, and again, all the safety features. Push button is still there. You come over, it's got return springs to bring you back to center, and it's got everything you need to get it hooked up to your 6-speed or 8-speed transmission. Whether that's a Ford or a Chevy, we're looking to support that. So be on the lookout for this and many other great products getting ready to release this year from Lokar.
Welcome back. Check out these cars. J.D. Hall was 17 when his 1964 Ford Thunderbird was built. It was 50 years before he could afford one and around 5 times the original cost. But in America, dreams do come true.
Bought the car in 2013. I've always wanted a convertible. I was 17 when this was built. 50 years later, I was able to afford one at about 5 times the original cost. And I got it out of Sarasota, Florida. It was on consignment. This car was previously owned by Warren and Arlene Dahl, film star. And it's got 85,000 miles on it. It's got everything but power seats and cruise control, fully loaded. Well, there's a switch on the inside, the top up, top down. You just push the switch, top goes up, push the switch, top goes down. But the trunk opens up in the back and the top folds down into the trunk. It is a black soft top. It's not a hard top like the 57, 58, 59 Fords, Sunliners. It's a black soft top.
The Lokar Car Show, presented by Original Parts Group, is brought to you by Lokar, quality, plain and simple. Proline Tool and Supply, one tool, one operator, no problem. H&M Saw, the saw that cuts straight. LMC Truck, restore, maintain, customize parts and accessories for Chevy, GMC, Ford, and Dodge trucks and SUVs. KBS Coatings, rust stops here. And by Power Pro, an absolute must for your toolbox. Resto Parts Restoration, powered by Original Parts Group.
Here at Resto Parts, we try to supply the parts that we manufacture with all the correct clips and hardware that usually come with them. That'll make your installation easier, and it'll make your body guy's installation easier if the car's getting restored. Now what happens is a lot of times when you get new sheet metal, or your car gets painted over the years, or there's body work done to it, you lose a lot of the original mounting locations. So here we have some of the universal molding clips that come with this molding. This is a typical molding for mid-60s to early 70s GM, and this is an old style clip. Okay, this has been around for a long time. People still haven't figured out how to use them sometimes, or have trouble when they're trying to install them. They're either too loose or it doesn't line the body up correctly. So let me show you the first mistake people do is they get the molding, flip it backwards, and here's the clip, and here's the install. First of all, it's too loose. So when they're trying to install, the part just comes out, okay? The second thing they do is they're like, well, let me open up the spring. They open up the spring, and there you go. It's a lot tighter now. Okay, but what happens is the spring is not aligned to center. I'm sorry, the stud is not aligned to center. So that'll misalign your molding when you're trying to match it up to the rest of the car. What you're supposed to do with this spring clip is open up the spring the opposite way. What this does is locks the clip into place and centers the stud to the molding. Once that stud's molded, and look at that, it's also very tight. So that typically corrects any kind of alignment issue and any kind of install issue when you have this. Once you follow this for virtually all your springs, you'll have a good alignment to your moldings and a proper restoration.
I've loved that car since I was a kid. I've always had a love for those little box cars. I've owned this car personally for about 34 years now. It's been everything from a daily driver back and forth to work to I cut it up and made it into a drag car. I used to race it. And at one point it sat for probably 15 years in my carport with a tarp on it. And everybody knew me for the car with the tarp on it. One day I decided to get a little paint job on it, and this was the end result. It kind of got out of control. But the car was built by a company called Miranda Built. Did a great job on it. Interior was done by a guy named Jeremy Carlson. Extreme Performance. It's running a SB2 motor with twin turbos, putting out over 1,000 horsepower at the rear wheels. It's pretty much my baby. I drive it everywhere. It's a driver. It's not a trailer queen by any means. I drive it wherever I go, except for I don't take it to work. But I enjoy my car.
Kenny Stow may be channeling his inner gangster when driving his 1968 Cadillac DeVille, but he says he bought it for luxury. Well, whatever the reason for the purchase, it was a good buy.
Always liked Cadillac back in the day, especially in the 60s. It was the top of the food chain. There were very few, if any, Rolls Royces, BMWs, Mercedes. This was it as far as luxury. Amazing car. It's pretty much original interior. It's been repainted once in lacquer by Harbor Restoration in Rockledge. His dad, actually his uncle bought the car new, so I found the chain of ownership. and it's got 472 cubic inches, 375 horsepower. Very modern car even today. Power steering, power brakes, power seat, power windows, power door locks. It's even got a foot pedal to change the channels on the radio before the drive and text days. The best part about this is the luxury, the speed, and the modern components that 50 years later, very unusual in a car. You have to take your foot off the pedal to stop from getting speeding tickets. That's how fast this is, even with the weight.
Well, this is a show that we do every month, the first Monday of every month. It's awesome. We get usually between 80 and 100 cars every time that we do it. This is going to be our 13th year, starting in October. It's a great addition to the downtown area. We get a lot of people, a lot of families. It's a family event. We come here every time we do the show. Go to the restaurants, the bars. There's amazing shops. It's a very quaint town. We love being here. This is an awesome place. The car show is a great, like I said, a great addition to the downtown because we get all varieties of cars. We have classics, we have new cars, we have modified cars. It's a wonderful car. We have bicycles, motorcycles. It's awesome, really. This is makes Hollywood better, downtown Hollywood.
Thank you for daydreaming with us in Hollywood, Florida at the Dream Car Classic. Don't forget, the Lokar Car Show is the car show that brings the car show to you.